And hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for November. And it's hard to believe I'm saying November 1st, 2016. I'm your host, Gary Smith. And on today's show, we're going to look back at last week's win at Mercyhurst, and then we're going to look at the upcoming week's opponent, Edinburgh. We'll take a look around the PSAC with scores and standings and all of the fun stuff that comes with being this late into the season. And without further ado, we welcome Coach to his own show. And Coach, you brought the good weather today, 77 and today, and I think 78 tomorrow.
Great to be back for another weekend. Love this November weather.
And I tell you what, I mean, we were talking off camera. It's hard to believe it's November, but we're to the last two games of the regular season this week and next week. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, this past week made the 3-hour trip up to Mercyhurst. And I tell you what, all last week, the storyline, if you talk to people around campus and just talking about, was just, Mercyhurst has not been a successful place for California. The game kicked off at noon, and probably by about 12:25, I think your team pretty much took care of business. That was as dominating and impressive performance as I've seen in a while, because, I mean, you guys literally came out and basically took the game pieces off the board for Mercyhurst.
Yeah, I thought our guys played extremely well. I thought our coaches did a tremendous job getting our guys prepared for that game. We talked to our guys about that. California hasn't had success in the last few years at Mercyhurst, and we wanted to get off to a fast start and thought we did a great job. Our kids are playing with tremendous confidence right now and really did a nice job.
And I tell you what, watching that game, and we'll see the highlights in a little bit, but just watching that game, it was a unique mix because, you scored 55 points, but it was a mix of splash plays and also just hard-nosed, move the ball down the field, control the clock football, and that's a tough balance to get.
Yeah, we strive for balance. We want to be a balanced offense, be able to run and throw the ball both effectively, and I thought that was a true game where that happened for us. Gary Brown, obviously, I'm sure you're going to ask, had a big day, but we ran the ball well. We had a number of guys that ran the ball. Michael Keir ran the ball probably better than he had all year, and it was a good balance offensively for us. And obviously we put a lot of points on the board, so couldn't be happier with Coach Salisbury, Coach Wilson, Coach Durish, and obviously our players played extremely well.
You mentioned Michael Keir. I mean, he was the first Vulcan quarterback in a long time to lead the team in rushing, and also had the longest run by a Vulcan quarterback since 2004. And we'll see that play in the highlight. But on that play, it looked like he wasn't rushed. It just looked like he took his time, made his read, and saw everyone's back to him and figured, why not run 41 yards?
Yeah, Mike's got athletic ability. We don't run him a lot, and that's by design. But when there's opportunities to run, I thought he had another big run at the end of the second quarter there to kind of set us up for that last second touchdown. But when defenses are going to give that to us, he's athletic enough to get out and did a heck of a job.
And I tell you what, you took the words out of my mouth. That run right before the end of the first half, I mean, you guys got the ball back with about a minute, maybe a little less than that. And just a great short drive. I mean, quick drive, not short in yards, because you guys, I think it was like 65, 70 yards. But, that run he took out of the pocket, that was about a 25-yard run and gave you guys a chance for that play at the end of the half.
Absolutely. Really smart for him to get out of bounds, take with the defense. They were playing coverage and dropped everybody. We got a little bit of pressure up front, and he took off, and that was a big play in the ballgame.
I tell you, we mentioned Gary Brown earlier, and it wouldn't surprise me if he would lobby to try and play every game up there, because in 2 games up there, he's had about 500 yards receiving and about 20 receptions and a bushel basket full of touchdowns. And, I mean, another great game on Saturday.
Yeah, it's interesting to see teams how they're going to play us. 2 weeks ago they were trying to double him a little bit. Gannon was trying to double him, especially in the red zone, where Mercyhurst played him straight up, and they moved the safety, and that's the great thing about our offense right now is you've got to honor everybody. Luke Smory's having a tremendous season. Paul Butler's had some big catches. Tom Green has had some huge catches. Jordan Dandridge is coming along and doing some nice things. And Mercyhurst decided they were going to play us straight up, and we were able to get one-on-one coverage with Gary, and obviously we feel great about that. But the offensive line did a tremendous job protecting Mike, and Mike threw some deep balls right on the money to Gary. And then Gary's great after the catch. He had a tremendous game, and that's what we expect from him.
And stay tuned for the highlights in just a few minutes, because there are some spectacular highlights. Now, on the other side of the ball, your defensive line and front seven did another outstanding job. It seemed like in that first quarter and a half, anytime quarterback for Mercyhurst, Avila, dropped back, I mean, there were 3 or 4 white jerseys in his face, sometimes even more.
Yeah, I thought our defensive staff had a really, really good plan. Coach Craig and Coach D and Coach Mock and Coach Inesco really had those guys ready to play from the opening kickoff. And, our front seven did a great job. But on the back end as well, they do a lot. Mercyhurst is a big shift motion, try and get you unbalanced, try and get you out of position. And we spent a lot of time on that this week, and it really paid off. And obviously our guys are playing with a lot of confidence on that side of the ball.
And Jawan Turner must have got tired of not being in the highlights because another strip sack, and that it was a fantastic play. That I mean, the first one against Millersville earlier in the year was amazing. This one was just spectacular to the strip and the stack.
Jawan is so crafty and makes splash plays for us, some big plays. But for him to knock it out, pick it up, and run for another touchdown just tells you how hard that he plays and how smart of a football player that he is. He's aware of every situation. Just a really crafty guy and having a heck of a year.
And I tell you what, that's no better way than to lead it off than that right there. We'll take a look at the highlights from Saturday at Mercyhurst, and after the break, we'll come back and preview this upcoming week's opponent, Edinburgh. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Altavia is going to drop back in the pocket, and he's going to look to throw. California actually stripped the ball on that one. We're going to see who came up with the ball, but they're motioning that California gets the ball back. And now Nick Grissom puts his head down, and a big run from him, just putting his head down, a punishing run even, as Nick Grissom gets into the end zone. He's going right, and he does. He has some space in the middle of the field. John Franklin III getting California on the board yet again. Here now dropping back, and he's looking to throw down the middle of the field over to Gary Brown. Gary Brown has some space down the field. It looks like he was just going to walk into the end zone. And Altavia now going out to his left, and he's going to throw a big hit. Jawan Turner is going to pick that one up and get a touchdown. As he, nice little play action fake, and Michael Keir has some space in the middle of the field, and Michael Keir's going to get into the end zone. A long touchdown run. Michael Keir just showing his athleticism. California now trying to put some points up on the board as Michael Keir throws the ball over to Gary Brown. Gary Brown, see if he's brought down. Now they're going to give it to Gary Brown this time, and Gary Brown is going to stay on his feet. Gary Brown gets into the end zone.
Exciting Vulcan football is back this fall. September 10th at Cheney. September 17th versus Millersville. September 24th at Seton Hill. October 1st versus Slippery Rock. October 8th versus Indiana. October 15th at Clarion. October 22nd versus Gannon. October 29th at Mercyhurst. November 5th versus Edinburgh. November 12th versus East Stroudsburg. Catch all the action on CUTV and WCAL. CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. Springdale at Jeff Morgan. Avella at California. Bell Vernon at Ringgold. Greensburg Central Catholic at Charleroi. Waynesburg at Southmoreland. Baldwin at Connellsville. Beth Center at Brownsville. Fraser at Bentwood. Bishop Canavan at Carmichael. The longest running high school coverage in southwestern PA is on CUTV.
CUTV News Center is California University of Pennsylvania's award-winning student television newscast. Your source for live, local, late-breaking news. Forecasts from the CalU Weather Center. The region's latest entertainment news. Vulcan sports highlights and regional scoreboards with television news coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch it live Thursdays on CUTV and on demand. CUTV News Center. Online all the time.
Harris. Pitch toss. Franklin to the right. Franklin, touchdown, California. John Franklin's fifth touchdown of the season gives the Vulcans a 6-0 lead. He'll take the snap. Handoff. Veerland again tries to spin out a tackle and gets ripped down. Ball is out. Harris. Handoff. Franklin. Quick handoff. Touchdown, California. John Franklin's got 2 in the first quarter. Back to pass. He looks pressure. He's in the end zone. That's a safety. He got hit from the blind side. That's principal. Ball is spotted. Kicks away, and it gets blocked. He looks like he kicked it low. Oh, bad snap, fumble, Edinboro football. It was a bad handoff to Franklin, and Edinboro stops California. He rolls to the right here. Sisson looking, now under pressure, cuts back, fires, he's got it, ball popped out, and intercepted! It is intercepted, Jordan Bowman. Ball spotted, kicks away, that kick is good. He rolls to the left this time, he looks. Corner end zone, Massey gets the touchdown. Harris back to pass. He looks. He wants Gary Brown. Touchdown, Vulcans. Gary Brown. Back to pass. He looks. He fires. He's got Smorey wide open for the touchdown. Luke Smorey was left uncovered. Sisson back to pass again. He looks. He fires. He wants his man, and it is caught for the touchdown. Darren Massey. Harris, back to pass out of shotgun. He looks, he fires, he got Scott wide open. Scott loses the football. Edinboro will recover it. Scott slipped and a second turnover for California. He takes the snap again, back to pass. That time, he's got his man, that's Massey. 5-yard line, breaking tackle, still on his feet, touchdown! Unbelievable, this guy. Handoff, Franklin up the middle, find his lane, he goes to the end zone, John Franklin, his third touchdown of the game. Back to pass assistant, he looks, last pass, he wants Caratelli, he's got him open, he got it, and he will go in for the touchdown. Edinboro with another touchdown, it is Sisson's fourth touchdown pass of this game. Harris back to pass, he looks, he's got time, throws it right and intercepted. Hands off, Villiard, play action, looks, fires, intercepted! Aaron Terry! An unbelievable interception, Aaron Terry continues to fight.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show for November 1st, 2016. I'm Gary Smith, joined as always by head coach Gary Dunn. And coach, we just saw the highlights from last year's game at Edinboro. And that was a game early in the year, I think it was like the third, fourth week of the year. In Edinboro last year, 0 2015, but they've had a heck of a turnaround, new coach, some new faces, and you can't say enough about what they've done up there.
Absolutely. Their new coaching staff, and especially their head coach, is doing a tremendous job. They're, 0 for last year. I think they're at 8-1 right now, playing with a lot of confidence, a really, really good football team. Well-rounded. When you watch them on film, very, very strong in special teams, offensively putting up big numbers, and then they've got a big play, opportunistic defense. So it's going to be a stiff challenge.
Now on tape, I know we're shooting this show Tuesday morning, and I'm sure you've already watched some tape on them or watched more tape this week. But we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. As a fan, and reading game results and game stories, it seems like on offense the name that jumps out is quarterback Jake Sisson. What have you seen on film that he does well?
He does everything well. They've got 3-4 really good receivers, and he's very poised in the pocket, puts the ball in the money, doing some nice job. You can tell he's checking to some things in versus certain looks and certain coverages, but really poised in the pocket, just doing a nice job managing their offense. They're a big play offense. They love to throw the ball vertical, and they've got a number of really good receivers that are doing a nice job for them. Probably the best offense we've played. And
on the other side of the ball, as we were watching the highlights, you were mentioning, that number is still there, that number is still there. What do they do on defense? What kind of formations, and what are some of the things that your offense is going to have to look at this Saturday?
They're very multiple defensively, a little bit different than the last two teams that we've seen were both 3-man fronts. Edinboro will play a 3-man front, but predominantly a 4-man front, and they'll jump into some nickel packages on 3rd and long. Really good pass rushers up front. I think it all starts for them defensively up front. They've got I think the guy's leading the conference in sacks. They've got a defensive tackle that has a ton of tackles for loss. And then they're solid on the back end. They're just a big, they really rely defensively on the big play. They create a lot of turnovers. They create a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles for loss, get you behind the sticks, and then bring pressure. And it's going to be a tough test.
And I mean, apart from the side of this being an important matchup, will basically decide the winner of the PSAC West. But Edinboro's a team. I mean, we always hear when you're talking Cal football, IUP, Sleepy Rock are two huge rivals. But Edinboro's got to be right there because it seems like for years, Edinboro and Cal were right around each other in the standings, and they've always seemed to be hard-fought games with a lot of different storylines going on.
Yeah, you can see last year's game looked like a great game. When I was here playing in the 90s, Edinboro was a big rival. And, they had some really, really good teams then. And then I know they made some playoff runs, since then. But yeah, I treat every game in this league as a rival. Everybody's so close. You recruit the same players. You know their coaching staff. You know the players on their team. Our players know their players. That's the great thing about Division II football and having these regional rivalries, and Edinboro is no different.
It's got to be a great coach to be back at home, and also a 1 o'clock start. We can finally get back to a normal start for Cal football.
I think this is the 7th or 8th week with a different game time. We were at 12 last week. We're at 1 this week. But great to be home. Hopefully we'll have a big crowd out. We're going to do some fun promotions for the students and trying to release that on social media as we go. But this is a big game. The weather's supposed to be great. Hopefully we'll have a big alumni turnout, but we need the students to show out for this one. This is going to be a big game.
And this is going to be a game also not only for the standings and also just, hopefully a great day in November. But this game was flexed to National Game of the Week for the NCAA on ESPN3. And, that's great because eyes of the country are going to be on a really good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about it. This game for us is just like the other 8 that we've played, but we're excited to be at home. Our guys love being at home. They love playing in front of our fans. They love the support we get, especially from our marching band, who's become great friends of ours. I know they're going to bring a ton of energy this week. We're just excited to be at home. Another opportunity to play college football, and we're excited.
So make sure you come out this Saturday, 1 o'clock, Adamson Stadium. I'll plug it real quick, and we'll plug it in at the end of the game. But this game is basically to decide who's going to represent the PSAC West in the PSAC championship game. So, wear your Vulcan gear and cheer on the team because, like I said, this has been a fun ride so far. And, best place to be is in Adamson Stadium.
That's right, and the weather's going to be great. It's exciting time of year. Our guys are fired up, and we're looking forward to it.
And let's take a look back before we look too far ahead for promoting this week's game. Let's look at what happened this past weekend in the PSAC. The scoreboards first with the West. Of course, California Mercers, IUP, and Gannon, who were about 5 miles away from where we were. We ran into a lot of IUP fans going back down on 79 in the accident backup that we all got stuck in. Slip Rock and Clarion, that was a game when I saw the result of that. That's another game that we talked a couple weeks ago in Clarion. They're a little bit better than what their record is, and they showed it this week against a Slip Rock team that's had some injury issues, but still a dangerous team.
Yeah, Clarion's doing a nice job. Played hard against us, and I knew they'd finish it out. Their coach does a great job the rest of the way, and obviously you can see that they're doing that.
And the final score, and it seems like, Coach, the schedule makers want you watching a lot of Seton Hill film because every week it seems like the last week's game was against Seton Hill, but Edinboro, Seton Hill, and that was a game we were able to listen to on the radio a good way down, heading home from the game Saturday. And Seton Hill was up for a good portion, but Edinboro showing why they're 8-1. They came back in the fourth quarter, late third quarter, fourth quarter with the win. Explosive
offense, putting up a lot of points, and that ball was thrown around that day at Seton Hill versus Edinboro. So it's obviously a big win for those guys.
Now let's take a look and see what happened on the PSAC east side of the conference. Millersville Cheney. Millersville getting a good win at Cheney, 34-6. Lock Haven beating Bloomsburg. That was probably my surprise when I saw it because I believe Bloomsburg had a lengthy streak against Lock Haven, but they lose 26-18. Westchester all over East Stroudsburg, 41-14. And then the game that decided who's going to represent the East next week, Kutztown beating Shippensburg in overtime, 24-21. So, both teams 6-3. We'll look at the standings here in a little bit, but Kutztown running off a 6-game winning streak after starting 0-3.
They're playing extremely well as Lock Haven playing with a lot of confidence right now and doing a nice job with that win against Bloomsburg. But Kutztown they're on a roll. They're playing really well.
And that was another game we kind of had the live stats up, and it just seemed like Shippensburg was poised to get a win towards the end. And Kutztown just fought back and took it to overtime. And as you know, once it goes to overtime, anything can happen.
Exactly right.
Now, after this last weekend's contest, let's take a look and see how the standings shape out. First, we'll start with the West, and we talked about it. California, Edinboro, California 6-0, 8-0, and then Edinboro right there, 5-1, 8-1. So like I said, the winner of this game will represent the West next week's championship game. But once again, I mean, you look down there, a lot of teams over 500. Just a tough division.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Seton Hill's doing a nice job. Slippery Rock's got fighting through some injuries, but when you look up there and you see us at 8-0, Edinboro and Indiana both with one loss, it's you know, obviously a tough league when you got that many teams up at the top.
And let's take a look over at the PSAC East. And as I just mentioned, Kutztown clinched the PSAC East crown with the win at Shippensburg. I believe if they would have lost, Shippensburg might have had the tiebreaker between those three teams. But she's 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. So up the top, I mean, still some tough football, and it's some tough games this weekend too.
Absolutely, and the East came back. You know, the West kind of had a big week against them in the first two crossover weeks, where a lot of those losses have come from.
Mm-hmm.
But the East is definitely playing good football with those top three teams.
And once again, we'll look at. I know you don't like to look at a coach, but for the purposes of promotion, we have to look at the regional rankings. You can look away. The second regional ranking came out Monday, and the PSAC is well represented with California at 2, IUP at 5, Edinboro at 7, and top LIU, Post, and Shepherd. So, and you see there, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 loss. No one on the board with more than 2 losses. So, yeah. I've always said, I talk to my friends debating, between D2 and D1 and D3 and NAI football. I mean, I think the way D2 does it's very exciting. I mean, especially in Super Region 1, you have 7 teams, that are going to make the playoffs, but about 42 to 40. I think there's 44 teams in the region, so that's a lot of good teams vying for 7 spots.
Good football, and I'm looking at October 31st, 2016. Yep. I'll check back with these on November 11th or November 12th. That's when we worry about them. So I know you got to put it up there, but really no bearing on us.
And let's take a look at the schedule this weekend. This weekend slate of games, last date of the regular season or divisional play. Gannon at Clarion, Millersville, Westchester, Mercer, IUP, and like I said, I think obviously the big one, even if you're just a neutral fan, will have to be Edinboro, California, because that's going to decide a division. But Shippensburg and Bloomsburg and Seton Hill, Slippery Rock are both going to be good games as well, I think.
Yeah, a lot of good games, and that Gannon-Clarion game is going to be a good game. 2 recent opponents of ours that are playing well. And that's the thing about this league is you just see how hard these kids play every week, and you kind of throw records out the window. It's just guys going out and competing every Saturday. It's everything that's good about college football.
And that's something you mentioned a little while ago about, you're recruiting against the same players. A lot of these players have played either against each other in high school, with each other, or, one town over, so they know about each other, and familiarity breeds contempt and competitiveness. So I think that's what you see each and every week.
Yeah, it's just a good football league. Tremendous coaches in this league, and that do a great job of motivating their players to play hard every week. You saw it last week from Mercyhurst. We were up big. There was a couple minutes left to go in the game, and they're still playing like, they're playing for the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just the coaches do a great job, and the kids play football at this level extremely hard for the right reason. So it's nice to be around it.
And make sure on Saturday you come out 1 o'clock. Like I said, it's a big game. As you see the schedule right there. November 5th at 1 o'clock. It says live CTV broadcast that was made in August. This game was flexed to ESPN3, so ESPN3 will have exclusive rights to the live and rebroadcast. So just mentally take out www.calvulcans.com. Actually, go to calvulcans.com because Matt has the link to it, and that's a lot easier than me trying to remember the actual the website. So, but like I said, it's a big game, national and international TV audience. So make sure to wear your red and black that says Vulcans on it, because Edinboro also wears red and black. So you want to make sure to fill that home side up, because as Coach will tell you, it's great to have a lot of people in the stands rooting you on.
I tell you what, we'd love to have a huge crowd for this. Hopefully, we're going to release the promotions, like I said earlier, here in the next day or so. But we got to get the fans here. We got to get the students here, the alumni back. This is a big football game for us, and for us to play in front of a great home crowd like we have all year would be really exciting for our guys.
And I've looked at the weather. Coach looked at the weather. I don't want to jinx it too much for November, but I think it's going to be a very good, mild day. So take advantage of getting out to a football game in that weather in November, because, like I said, the stars are aligning. Like, important game, good weather, good friends. So come on out 1 o'clock. Coach, any final words before before we wrap it up here today?
Well, sorry that you guys aren't going to be there. I know you'll be there. I'm sorry you're not broadcasting it this week, but we appreciate everything you guys do for us. It's fun to have you guys on the road with us, and hopefully we'll come back next week and have a great talk.
That sounds like a plan, Coach. So once again, 1 o'clock Saturday, Adamson Stadium, and we'll be back next week to talk about what happened and look ahead in the future. So you've been watching The Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV, and we'll see you next week.